Want to make sure your Instagram story announcements actually reach your followers instead of having double digits compared to your best posts? Here's a simple hack for beating the Instagram algorithm. When people skip past your stories, it kills your reach. And this is especially brutal for announcements, which typically get low engagement. But I've discovered a trick I use a lot. Right before posting your announcements, create a story that asks an engaging question, requiring typed responses, not just one of those polls. Something like, what's the best burger spot in New York City? I'm about to pull up. Those typed replies trigger Instagram to push you further up the algorithm so that more people see your story, and then they'll see your next slide as they're watching the stories. This is your reminder that you're ignoring the best effective growth strategy for your music. We've been seeing niche content work as a viral formula for so long, and it just got cemented once again in Metricool's 2025 social media study. And if you've been following my content, you know how much I swear by this. So why are you still ignoring it? In half my consultation calls this week, I had to tell artists the same thing. You should learn more about your niche and learn more about what is the culture around it and go in on it even harder. But you all keep posting broad generic content hoping it'll magically work. The data is clear. The best formula for growth is starting in a niche and then slowly expanding out to show more of the picture of you. Your content needs to confidently say, this isn't for everyone. It's for a specific type of person. 3 essential merch rules every musician must follow to maximize their sales.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from zero to millions of fans.
Let's break down the science of smart merch strategy. There's 3 essential categories you need to consider and 1 golden rule that ties it all together. A black shirt is your baseline 90% of the time for most of your sales. It's usually the top seller unless your audience specifically avoids black. The second category is seasonal. Match your merch to the season that's going on right now. Tank tops are for summer times and hoodies are for the winter. Think about where and when you're selling. And the third category is cultural pieces. This is about knowing exactly what your audience uses in their daily life. City liberals want tote bags. Country fans prefer trucker hats over dad hats. Your merch needs to fit your specific fan base's lifestyle. Now here's the bonus golden rule many don't consider. Keep it under 8 items per category to avoid decision fatigue. Yes, massive artists can stock 64 items because their super fans buy everything, but that's not where you start. Begin with 8 items max and cycle different designs over months as you get to know your audience and what they choose between those 8. This lets you test what works without overwhelming your audience with choices. A lot of artists seem to miss this when they go to shoot their music video.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from zero to millions of fans.
One of the most important things to focus on for your music videos is repurposing that content in as many ways as possible. You need to be thinking of how to juice every last drop of that music video. So set up and plan behind the scenes coverage. Stage some TikToks on site for alternate takes while the cameras are changing SD cards. Capture makeup transitions and process videos. Have one friend take photos for Instagram, another making a documentary style vlog for YouTube, and another one shooting TikTok ideas. You can do this during the many ups and downs of making the video itself. If you're doing something cool, milk it for everything it's got. The more contact you extract from each single shoot day, the better your return will be, regardless of your promotion budget. Is it best to pitch to user playlists before or after your song is released? Now, this all depends on the type of playlist you're submitting to. For Spotify editorial playlists, you have to submit 1 to 4 weeks before the release to get proper consideration. But for most user-curated playlists, they want the song to be already released. There are 2 main reasons for this. Many playlist curators want to see if your track is already performing decently, and some simply prefer to listen directly on Spotify rather than through pre-release links. There's a huge secret your favorite artists use for unbeatable cover art. Your album art should speak to the cultural aesthetic of your microgenre while diverging a little bit for your positioning. If you want to be included in conversations with other artists in your niche, well, you can do this simple trick. Use Unchartify to research successful album covers in your genre. You'll quickly spot recurring themes, colors, textures, and fonts that define the visual language of the culture of this genre. For example, Bleak Gaze covers consistently use black and white imagery with pink accents and those really illegible logos. They aren't random choices. They're visual signals that communicate this belongs to this genre for people who know. Study these patterns and incorporate similar elements into your own album art to connect with your target audience and show that you're part of the culture. The first 30 seconds of your music video is more important than the entire rest of your video, and here's why. YouTube's algorithm now boosts small musicians to active music listeners' homepages, but you'll only benefit if people actually click and watch the video. When someone hovers over your thumbnail, they see a preview of your video's opening moments. That first scene has to be strong enough to make someone click. The opening sequence needs to be an instant hook. a mini trailer that grabs attention immediately. Use simple but effective transitions and fast-paced editing that matches your song's energy. Pack as much visual interest as possible here, and you'll convert way better. There's a new trend that all your favorite artists are doing that you're not. Social media followers are basically meaningless now since your homepage is flooded from content of creators that you don't even follow. Like me. While you only see a very small percentage of content from people you actually follow. This is why more and more artists are building text and email ecosystems for communicating with their audience, and this is why it's important that you draw people to one. I'm constantly telling musicians this, and most resist because they think their fans won't sign up, and they're right. Most casual fans won't care to give you their email or phone number, but your true fans absolutely will, and you could use them to ignite algorithms, as when they see those messages and actually do what you're asking them to do, it gives good indicators to the algorithm that you have engaged fans, and slowly building that up over time is how you build a bigger fan base. Tribly is an amazing free tool I highly recommend that makes building this communication system super easy. And by the way, I curated a list of over 100 free tools and the best resources for musicians to promote their music with my brutally honest take on each one. Find it in my... This playlist trick gets your fans to automatically hear every new song you release. Major artists like The Help and Raven Lenae are getting people to listen to their music more often by compiling their discography into their artist playlist and prompting people with something like hit plus to get notified when we drop new music. And they're actually gathering a ton of saves. When their fans save that playlist, every new release automatically lands in their library and they can change the title of it with a simple update without their fans noticing. And your streams per listener are going to go up because your fans are not starting from zero every time you drop something. The Finsta account album rollout strategy works for a reason. Yeah, Frank Ocean did this like a bajillion lifetimes ago. Charlie X did it last year. Drake, Playboi Carti, and Kendrick all use this approach too. But what does this mean for smaller artists? One of the greatest funnels I can see to get fans excited and get them to become a bigger fan is adding them to your close friends list if they're interacting with your profile a lot. Because Instagram puts those stories that are close friends onto the front of people's feeds. Fans who see your exclusive content start conversations with others. You're not on this artist thing? You didn't see them do this? Oh, I'm on their Finsta. And then they talk about those posts because they have something special to brag about to their friends, and you become that. When someone gets added to your close friends, they feel like an insider. This drives more engagement and more sharing and more conversations about your music. And then after that, you could link them to other things and sell to them once they're in that close friends loop and get their email and get their text. Whenever you share just a single song, you're fucking up.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
Whether we're talking about YouTube or Spotify, share a playlist, your discography, your most popular songs, or a waterfall release. It's one of the simplest ways to boost your streams that artists constantly overlook. Here's why it matters. When someone clicks a single track, Spotify usually throws them into radio mode afterwards, which stops playing your material even though you brought them to the platform. And the same thing happens on YouTube. You just lost that listener after one song, but if you send them a playlist, they stay in your world. They hear more of your sound and find more songs they like and keep streaming. I've seen artists go from 150,000 to 450,000 monthly streams just by bundling their singles into smart collections. Musicians' hooks on these apps aren't just words. One of the things so many musicians miss is when people like me talk about hooks, they think that they need to be like an influencer and say something striking in 6 words. But a hook can often be an emotion or anything striking in the first image. It just needs to hook you like a fish to bring you in the rest of the way on the line. This means if you could put a powerful image or something that creates curiosity at the top of your video, that's just as powerful as saying something that is provocative. Musicians aren't thinking about inbound links enough. Algorithms reward you bringing people to their platform through outside links. This is a powerful growth strategy most musicians completely overlook. I've tested this myself and saw the proof. A video I was working on with only 145 views in 24 hours suddenly jumped to 200K after we sent people to it through external links. This wasn't a fluke. I've seen this pattern repeatedly across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. Even Instagram's CEO, Adam Mosseri, has confirmed that external traffic is a major factor in their algorithmic decisions. Platforms want you bringing new users to them, and they'll reward you for it. Share your content across platforms, email your fans links directly, and use your link in bio strategically. You need to be moving fans from platform to platform. In this noisy era of people all trying to get your fans' attention, you need to remind remind people that you exist in different spaces online and they can get something from you there. Your biggest fans actually want to follow you everywhere as long as you're doing something entertaining. I personally follow my favorite artists across numerous platforms, which keeps their music on my radar, but it really hit home to me how important this is recently because I had something funny happen. Two Hollis dropped their latest record, and despite them being one of my absolute favorite artists, it took a couple days for me to remember to listen to their record because I wasn't being reminded. It took me 4 or 5 days to listen to the new Mama record, and I literally have their lyrics tattooed on my arm. If I'd seen an extra reminder or two, I probably would have listened on day one. Anyway, this is all to say, you should be making excuses to direct people between your platforms. Reference your Instagram and your TikTok, mention your newsletter and your tweets, and drop exclusive content in specific places. How do musicians get their lyrics everywhere? The answer is MusicSmatch Pro, and most musicians don't even know this exists. When you see your song goes viral, fans immediately try to Google the lyrics. If they can't find them, they move on to something else. MusicSmatch Pro automatically distributes your lyrics to Spotify, Google, Instagram, everywhere fans actually look for lyrics. Upload your lyrics once and then they handle everything else. When someone searches for those catchy lines from your song, they find your music instead of hitting a dead end, and this leads to a bigger relationship with your lyrics. Make your album release obvious to even your dumbest fans. I know, I've been telling you for years to avoid the lazy out now posts, but there's one big exception. When you drop a full-length album or EP, create one post that makes it crystal clear you have new music out and keep it pinned on your Instagram profile and your TikTok. There's so much music coming out every single day that even hardcore music fans of yours are forgetting about releases. Get started promoting your song the minute it drops. What I mean by this is that if your song drops at midnight, at 12:01 a.m., you need to already have an email drafted and text message drafted about it to send to your contact list. From the minute your song is public, you need to be hyper focused on getting the fans most likely to rinse it and listen repeatedly to your song so that Spotify sees this as an engaging song. And these people who are willing to give you a text or email are the people who are most likely to do it. And if you're collecting them from using a pre-save tool, which so many of you don't realize that your pre-save tool is probably already doing, well, these people are really likely to help improve your popularity score and get your song into the algorithm, and you're not taking advantage of it. Neglecting thumbnails is killing your YouTube views. Since when you don't have name recognition, that tiny image is literally the only thing convincing someone to check out your music instead of scrolling past it. The problem is artists treat thumbnails like they don't matter. You'll spend months perfecting your song, then slap your album cover on your YouTube video and wonder why you're stuck at 200 views. But think about what happens when someone's browsing YouTube. They're scrolling through hundreds of videos, and yours may be a half a second to communicate what kind of music you make and why they should care. Smart artists make this obvious. When BB Nobody puts himself in club settings, you immediately know it's a dance track. When Gabby Start makes everything look hyperpop, the right people recognize their scene instantly. They're giving clues to people that they may like it who are involved in their subculture. YouTube lets you A/B/C test thumbnails so you can put up 2 small variations of your best idea and then a total wild card, see what works and learn from it for your next thumbnail. How to build a massive following off of one successful video. When a video outperforms your other content, that's your signal to act. Metricool's 2025 social media study confirms what I've been saying. You need to go all in on what works. Your next step should always be making whatever was your successful video even better. Then make it better again. A dip in engagement on one of those 2 attempts doesn't matter. Keep experimenting and refining the formula. I see this so many times when I study the most viral musicians for my member feed every week. This is how you build sustained growth, committing to improving on what already works.